The Nobel Peace Prize is not a beauty pageant for powerful men with good press, and it's a legal moral instrument created by Alfred Nobel to reward those who had most advanced fraternity among nations, reduce the standing armies and convene peace. Nominations closed on the 31st of January, deliberations ran for months, and lobbying in October, however noisy, doesn't move the needle. A 5-member Norwegian committee, appointed by the sorting, works from a confidential slate sealed for 50 years and consults external experts before agreeing a consensus pick. And they claim to be deaf to campaigns and odds. In short, the criteria are durable contribution, symbolic signal value, not headlines. Sudan's the civic humanitarians under fire, the Sudan's emergency response rooms, the ERRs, the hyper-local volunteer networks feeding, evacuating and treating civilians in a near-invisible war. Awarding them would have spotlighted citizens' peacekeeping where states have failed. A committee to protect journalists or reporters without borders. A statement rewarding them would have that without a free press there can be no peace, especially after unprecedented journalist deaths covering Gaza. There was also a report that Yulia Navalnaya, the widow who kept a movement alive after her husband Alexei Navalny's death, a choice that would have supported Russian civil society under repression. Maria Corina Machado, the Venezuelan opposition leader who unified a fragmented opposition, was barred from the ballot and kept pushing for free elections despite arrests and intimidation. This option fits the committee's habit of honouring personal courage tethered to constitutional change. The mediators, like Qatar's Prime Minister Mohammed bin Abdulrahman al-Thani, a controversial call, yet his brokerage across the Hamas, Israel, Afghanistan and other files made him a plausible symbolic pick for dialogue in a hard region, and the International Criminal Court, a principled rebuke to impunity in the middle of attempts to sanction or sideline it. Choosing the ICC would have said law is the long road to peace. And then there's the Trump question. Why the odds tightening made the case at the same time very weak. The betting markets fluttered after the Gaza ceasefire's first phase and a last-minute burst of endorsements, but markets are not minutes, and the committee's decision precedes such theatrics, and nominations anyway closed in January. Public campaigning is irrelevant to admissibility and usually counterproductive to selection. Trump's team pointed to an 8-conflict tally from Armenia and Azerbaijan, despite the fact that Trump couldn't remember the name of Azerbaijan and confused it with Albania, to Israel and Iran and now Gaza. Analysts note exaggeration, partial roles, and crucially, the absence of demonstrable, durable settlements. The committee looks for reductions of violence embedded in institutions, not tactical lulls or transactional pauses. Past criticism of premature awards, think Obama in 2009, make the panel especially wary of handing out a prize before the peace matures. And even if one credits Trump with catalytic leverage in the Gaza process, the case still collides with other parts of the record, withdrawals from multilateral frameworks, cuts to assistance, and a rhetorical posture that doesn't obviously reduce the role of force in international life. The will is clear: reward fraternity, demobilization, and the convening of peace progresses, or peace congresses. On that yardstick, actors, civic actors, and rule of law institutions would be much cleaner fits. And of course, Trump was already preparing the way for the likelihood that it wouldn't work, saying they'll probably give the award to somebody who was criticising him. Had we been speaking at 9:55 this morning, I would have said the committee's recent pattern, Memorial and Partners in 2022, Mohamdi in 2023, Hibakusha in 2024 favours moral courage under repression or a civilian network sustaining life in the middle of war, and that points to ERRs, CPJ, Navalnaya or Machado. Trump's price on Polymarket or bookies was interesting politics, but not serious probability. The Nobel Peace Prize in 2025 has now been awarded to Maria Corina Machado for her tireless work promoting democratic rights for a people of Venezuela and for her struggle to achieve a just and peaceful transition from dictatorship to democracy. This sits squarely in lane 2, with personal bravery plus institutional reform, and follows the committee's recent preference for non-violent dissidents over state leaders and deal-makers. For Venezuela, the award internationalizes the demand for competitive elections and legal safeguards. It won't topple a regime, but it hardens diplomatic costs for further repression and brightens the spotlight on political prisoners and media freedom. For future laureates, it reinforces a trend that civic courage beats transactional diplomacy. Mediation can still win, but only when it produces durable architecture and clear reductions in organised violence. For Trump, if his Gaza framework evolves into a verified, sustainable settlement with credible guarantees and institutions for both Israelites and Palestinians, not merely a pause, the 2026 case becomes less theatrical and more evidentiary, but that requires time, implementation, and proof, all measured against Nobel's standard, not betting slips. So peace prizes are not awarded for wishful thinking or loud confidence. They're awarded for work that survives the night, institutions that last, movements that keep faith under pressure, and agreements that hold when the cameras go home. This year's choice makes that point with clarity.